Member for Canberra.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I'm very pleased to speak on this MPI today and clear the record about this government's bold achievements on housing policy. Because contrary to what we've heard from those opposite in this who brought this MPI forward, the 47th Parliament under the Albanese Labor government and the Minister for Housing, who joins us for this debate, has been absolutely transformational when it comes to housing. Now, I've listened to those who have spoken from the Greens political party this afternoon, and it feels like they're living in a different world. They're living in a world where the constitutional prohibition on Commonwealth rent controls doesn't exist. They live in a world where the $10 billion Housing Australia Future Fund, which will build social and affordable housing into perpetuity, didn't pass this parliament, thanks to the great work of the Housing Minister, the member for Franklin. And in a world where they didn't delay that incredibly important policy that so many Australians couldn't wait to see pass this parliament. They delayed it. They delayed that policy. They live in a world where the $2 billion social housing accelerator wasn't part of our first budget back in government, and the $3 billion new homes bonus didn't happen. They live in a world where they're not publicly opposing our landmark Help to Buy scheme in the Senate right now. Quite frankly, they're living in a fantasy world. We in the Albanese Labor government live in reality. And as everyone in this place would be aware, we need more housing in this country. And we are getting on with that job each and every day as a government. As everyone in this place would be aware, it was quite a chilly morning in Canberra this morning. But luckily for myself and the Minister for Housing and ACT Minister for Housing, Yvette Berry, we were looking at a lovely, warm and new public housing dwelling this morning. We were able to tour 5 new dwellings in the inner north of Canberra, in my electorate. The units were beautifully designed and energy efficient with an 8-star rating and ready for new tenants to move in very soon. And it shows what can be done when we have 2 progressive Labor governments working together to deliver what Australians need. Deputy Speaker, starting on July 1, the ACT will receive an additional $157 million in funding from the Commonwealth to build more of these excellent public housing homes all across Canberra. And this is part of our 5-year national agreement on social housing and homelessness. The Albanese government's ambitious housing agenda will see 1.2 million homes built under the National Housing Accord by the end of the decade. And in the last budget alone, we've invested a further $6.2 billion to build more homes, bringing total federal government investment in this term of parliament to $32 billion. $32 billion. Because on this side of the House, we're building the homes that will house Australians for generations to come. As of December 2023, there were already over 226,000 dwellings under construction, 6 months before the accord period even commenced. We're working with the states and territories to secure a better deal for renters, including the development of a nationally consistent framework with a requirement for reasonable grounds for eviction, moving towards limiting rental increases to once a year and phasing in minimal rental standards. That's right. With policies such as the Housing Australia Future Fund and the social housing accelerators already up and running and Help to Buy coming soon, this government is fully committed to securing our housing future, because it's Labor that actually cares about solving the Liberals' housing crisis, while those in the Greens political party are just trying to score points. To think that they would stand in the way of these important schemes to build more houses for Australians. Here in Canberra is no different from anywhere else in the country where we have a housing crisis. People need affordable housing, we need more public housing, we need more social housing, and we are getting on with that job. And it was so lovely this morning to go and visit these bright, beautiful new dwellings and know that Canberrans who might have never had stable housing in their lives before could experience the transformational power of a stable place to live, a roof over their heads so they can get on with the rest of their lives with that security. And that is what this minister and this government are working to deliver each and every day that we are on this side of this chamber.